Everyone, this is Joy, and I have a quick question for you. Have you ever been lied to? I mean, like, not like a little lie, but like such an incredible, enormous, gigantic, unbelievable lie that it infiltrated your whole world and your reality as you knew it? I think most of us have been lied to, like on that kind of level, whether it's through uh, uh, a relative, a spouse, a child, whatever it might be, a colleague, a boss, whatever that might be. And I want to sort of speak to this today because there are so many things happening in our world right now. And I know in my heart, I just feel so compelled to talk about it. And it's amazing because I felt like I really had to talk about it maybe back at Christmas, that I needed to start talking about it. And I didn't, because suddenly, once I decided to talk about it, I haven't had any voice. I've been really sick and I haven't been able to speak. And you can probably hear a raspiness in my voice right now. But I just decided today that I was going to talk about this for a little bit, and I might continue to speak up about it because there's just so much. In fact, one reason I haven't said anything before now is because what I see in front of me with spiritual eyes and with natural eyes is like a tsunami. It's just like a tsunami. And when I look at video of tsunamis, the terror that kind of grips me, the power of the water, the sound of the water, the raging of the water, things that seem to be steady and planted and sure, just being swept away in a moment's notice, and the cries of people and the crushing sounds of metal and broken wood and things clinging into each other, and the rage of the water itself is really the only thing I know how to describe this. And what I think is kind of going to take place is like a tsunami of sorts. But what it is going to be is a truth tsunami. And I might as well go ahead and get this out of the way right now. Yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And I believe that the Word of God is truth. You don't have to believe that to hear what I'm saying to you, because I say this in love. I think that the truth is so large of this that it applies to anyone, regardless of what your religious beliefs might be or whatever your political affiliation might be, because it seems that everything right now is rooted deeply into political affiliations. And I'm not talking to you today about any political party. I'm not talking to you today about any religious affiliation. I'm talking to you today about truth. And because I believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, then yes, that does connect Jesus to all of this in that way alone. You see, I know the pain that comes from being lied to. I've been lied to many times in my life, and I have made myself vulnerable by being willing to believe people at their word, even though I have been lied to before, because I think that that's a journey of life, and that you just kind of have to decide that that's the kind of person you're going to be. Are you going to be a skeptic your whole life and calloused and bitter, or are you going to continue to give people opportunities and chances? And I know that I've had some really doozy, life-changing lies that have impacted my life, because the lies were so large that literally everything I believed about my world and myself was a lie. It wasn't a lie on my end, but because it was a lie on someone else's end who has absolute free will to do what they want to do, believe what they want to believe, say what they want to say, take a course of action that they want to take. Because of that, because we deal with people with free will, and again, that's a God thing, I can tell you that if I created something, I'm not about to give it free will. I want it to love me. Okay. So that's one of the reasons that I know that God, is because he created something lesser than himself, less than himself, and he gave it the freedom to have free will and to reject him, which is beyond anything I can comprehend. Okay. So I'm trying to leave God out of it, but it almost seems impossible to do so. But talking about free will, people are free to think and do whatever they want to do. But if you've ever been lied to like I have, and I can just I don't know. Let me just pick one. So I'm not going to get into the whole basis of all of it, but I will say that the life that I was leading because of this lie was an absolute lie, because the person who was lying to me was not only leading a life with me, but they were leading a life with a whole other family. And so that made my life a lie because I didn't know about the other family. And when you realize truth, when truth comes to you, when you're hit upside the head with truth, basically, there are many responses you can have to that. You can embrace it, which is hard to do because I think that most difficult truths kind of hit you blindsided and knock you off your feet and take your breath away, because it seems almost impossible to wrap your mind around it, because to do so would be to admit that everything you thought was true was not, and to also then embrace some type of vulnerability that, yes, if you wanted to label yourself at that moment as that you were stupid and gullible, or whatever the quick names might be that you might call yourself, in embracing that truth and going along with it and believing it and not seeing the warning signs of that, then yeah, you can spend a lifetime beating yourself up for that. But hopefully you don't, and hopefully whatever your situation was or has been or is being repeated to be, you move past that. Then there's all this anger. There's like grief because you realize that part of your life has died, because something that you were fully invested in really just wasn't real. It just wasn't real. And this brings me to one of my favorite movies, which is The Matrix. And that is because here are all these people living life. They seem to be living peacefully. They seem to be having some level of joy in their life. And yet they're really not living their life. They're cocooned up. They're just being sent digital memories. I mean, none of it is real. None of it is real. It also reminds me of The Truman Show, and how his whole life was encapsulated in this dome, and everything was pretend. I mean, I think that anyone who's been alive for very long has truly lived out The Matrix or The Truman Show. I think that you have in one way or another. So why am I talking about this today? I'm talking about this today because I believe that there are going to be many truths that come forth very soon that are going to kind of like rip our minds with horror. And I don't know any other way to say it. I'm not here to waste your time or to pussyfoot around about it, or just, be on a video. I've got way more stuff to do than to be on a video. But I do believe that I need to give opportunity for truth to come out to people who are my friends, or maybe even people who don't know me at all, but you would watch this for some bizarre reason. I have no idea why. But anyhow, if that's you, then hello, hi, I'm Joy, and nice to meet you. And you can take what I say and please examine it. Please test it. Please try it. Please pray about it. Please put it through some sort of rigor. But the reason that I'm coming to you today is because I believe that the world is about to be confronted with truth. Many truths about many things. Now, if I take my Christian background and I bring it back up again, I would say to you that in the Bible it says that Jesus is going to return, and since He's the way, the truth, and the life, then He's going to return in truth. The Bible also says that every knee will bow to Him and everyone will proclaim that Jesus Christ is Lord. Now, that is not the message necessarily of what I'm saying today, but I don't want to ignore that because I've built my life on that. And when I have been lied to, or I have been deceived, or I've been taken in, I can always go back to the steadiness of that and realize, no, I have a constant in my life that has never changed, that is not lying to me, that is where I can go to be restored, to be healed, to be re-energized, and to receive forgiveness, and to be able able to forgive, all right, and to get total and whole healing. And that's where I am today. That's where we have to kind of stay. That's where we have to live. And that's why I believe we need supernatural help as often as possible to do that, because there's a lot of stuff in this world going on all the time that could be deceptive and could be manipulating and controlling. So that said, I believe that many of us, and I'm including myself in all this, have looked to other things other than perhaps Jesus, or if you serve a different God, maybe you've looked to a different God, or maybe you've looked to people. You've looked to sources in your life to find truth and to trust things. But what if the things that we've looked to, the things that have comforted us, the things that have kind of been with us there when we were in our loneliest or darkest places, and we were searching for truth, what if those things were actually lies? Think about that for just a second. So let me give you some examples. So let's say, there's a certain movie or something that's my favorite movie, or I like a movie star that's, I think they're really great, and I like their films and stuff. And so whenever I get into a place or some sort of thing, I might want to retreat and look at those movies, and it might cheer me up. I might feel a connection with that person, or I could read about their life. I could read about their life story and their struggles. I could make a lot of connections with people and music and leaders, trusted leaders. And this is where I have to catch my breath, because literally this is where we're going to have to catch our breath. Because the people that I've listened to and that I've trusted and that I've gotten comfort from, who were outside of like God's word literally, maybe they didn't ask me to trust them. Maybe they didn't want me to be comforted by their art. Maybe they didn't want to have such an influence in my life. Maybe they just wanted to be a sports figure, or, a politician, or a preacher, or a professor, an employer. Maybe they just wanted to just be those things. But maybe because of my own thinking and processing, maybe I elevated them in a way that put them in a place where they might be my first choice to retreat to. They might, let me just put it this way, maybe they somehow brought balance to my world. Maybe that was it. Maybe they brought balance to my world. And that's my concern. That's my concern, because I pray every day that all things that are hidden will come to light. I pray that every day. I pray it multiple times throughout the day. And I got to that place because I did begin to research prophetic things and a lot of stuff years ago. And I was following those things, and I was shocked at what I learned in researching prophetic things from the Bible. And I was shocked to see the culture and society, and how I had embraced a lot of things and just taken it at face value, or maybe it was weird, but I was just like, oh, well, there's no attached meaning to that. It's just weird. They're just quirky. It's just art. I love creative things in art. So I'm very generous at giving people the benefit of the doubt. And I felt so pressed by society about my Christianity, that, especially because I'm a teacher, and I've spent a lot of my life teaching in a lot of different situations, and I've always wanted to be filled with integrity with that. And I have never brought haven't brought my faith into the classroom, because I have worked in systems and worked in places where that was not the thing to do. And so, being a person of integrity and wanting to have integrity, I haven't done that. And I've followed the rules with all those things. But meanwhile, while I was busy following the rules, there were all these other people who were not following the rules because they were actually talking about their religion. They were actually doing things all up in my face about their religion. They were doing all kinds of stuff, and I didn't know it. You know why I didn't know it? Because I didn't know anything about their religions. I was in like this own cocooned world with my own stuff, and being multiculturally minded, and all the buzzwords of tolerant and all that kind of stuff. Busy doing all of that in an honest way. Meanwhile, not realizing that there was a serious and intentional agenda that other people were using. And so they were getting by with it because I was clueless. I was clueless. Just like the times that I've been deceived, I was clueless. So my journey over the last probably 5 years has been an awakening to what's going on around me in the world and other religions, mainly paganism, and how people that I have put value on or trusted or enjoyed their artwork and stuff like that, I've realized that, you know what? These people are highly religious, they are highly purposeful and filled with intent, and they are pushing it in my face and down my throat, and yet they want me to be hands off and not say, do, talk, express, do any type of thing at all because that would be the end of the world. No, it wouldn't. And yes, it is out of balance. So this truth that I keep talking about, I believe that there is going to be a lot of information that comes forth where we realize that there are many people on this earth from everywhere, because we're globally connected, who are worshiping pagan gods and who are serious about their worship. And in order to worship these gods, they have done unspeakable atrocities, all in our face without us knowing it. And I believe it affects so many people because there are so many people who are doing this that I never had any idea they were doing it. It's still hard for me to believe it, even though I've studied it for years now. And it's hard for me to even express it verbally because I don't want it to be true. I don't want it to be true, but it is true. And it's going to come out. It's going to come out in such a way that everybody's going to know about it. And my concern is when everyone knows about it, what are people going to do? Are they going to lose their minds to realize that the world was not like they actually thought it was? Are we going to lose our minds to find out the people that we really super, ooper, duper, nooper, whooper trusted are not the people that they said that they were? Or maybe they never said it, but it was a part of their life that they kept hidden, and they used our beliefs, they used our generosity, they used our forgiveness, they used everything we had to offer, all that was good, to perpetuate their evil on other people. What are we going to do when we find that out? What if it's your leader somehow? What if it's someone who ministers to you who's like this? What if it's someone who is who teaches your kids? What if it's someone who is your coach? What if it's someone who is a political person? What if it's a senator or a congressman? What about it? What if it's a governor? What if it's a world leader? What if it's someone you really know and love? I think we have to be ready for anything. I think we have to be ready for anything. And the people that I believe are sleeping the most, I think there's two types of people in this. They're the people who are doing it, who are perpetuating this deception and evil and using people, just using the good of all people to do their worship to their pagan gods. And then I believe that there are people who are just kind of asleep, like me, like me. I've been asleep. And the only way that I got awake, let's just say, and every day is a new level of awakening, because I am making a choice to find out more. I don't necessarily want to, but I feel like if I'm going to do the most to help people, I better be well informed and well equipped. And it's been horrifying. And I'm not exaggerating that at all. I'm not exaggerating it at all. So what worries me the most are people like myself, Christians. Oh my word. Why are we asleep? Why do we not know what's going on around us? Why do we not care? Why are we all up in it and yet we don't even realize it? Why is that? And what's going to happen when this stuff comes out? I can tell you one thing I know that's going to happen. If Christians don't wake up and if Christians don't recognize that there is evil, real evil that's being worshiped, and that it has supernatural power, and that it is very strong, and that there are many people worshiping this and doing things that we don't even want to talk about, which are things like human trafficking and blood sacrifice and drinking blood and offering human sacrifices. And if that just freaked you out, or if you just kind of tuned me out right here, you're one of those people. You're one of those people that's asleep, because this stuff is going on all around us, and it is flagrantly in our faces, and we don't even know what it means. We don't even know. And we're buying t-shirts and all kinds of stuff, and we're going to see movies, and we're listening to people who absolutely tell you that they're doing it, but we can't see that they're doing it because we don't want to see that they're doing it. We want to believe that people would never do such a thing. And as a teacher, as a lifelong teacher, I would never want to ever think that anyone would ever want to perpetrate any type of evil upon a child. Why and who would ever want to do that? The truth is, a lot of people do. The truth is, they're trusted people. The truth is, they're leaders. The truth is, you followed them. The truth is, you've given money to them somehow through buying their products or listening to them or being manipulated by them in some manner, or buying into what they're selling, or voting for them, or sitting underneath their voice with sermons. The truth is going to come out. It's going to come out. And when it does, it's going to devastate lives. It's going to devastate people. And to help people, which is what I've always wanted to do, I've got to have information on what that is. I can't be when it happens. I can't be stunned. I can't be sitting back going, "What? They did what? I can't believe that." I can't have that reaction. I'm going to have to be able to come alongside people and put my arm around them. I'm going to have to be able to come alongside people and speak comfort into their lives. I'm going to have to be able to explain how this is horrific, and how God is the righteous judge, and how evil does not prevail. God wins. God wins. Evil does not prevail. But evil has been prevailing in darkness. And that is why I pray that all things that are hidden will come to light every day. Even in my own life, in my own heart. If there's something in me that's hidden, or that I'm fighting with unforgiveness somehow, or that if I have animosity towards someone, or any feelings at all that are not going to be positive for me or the world or other people, I want that checked and in balance and eradicated. As Christians, we have a job to do. Our job, I believe at the moment, is to wake up, start opening your eyes. Start looking around. Start checking out who these people are that you admire, people that are leaders, people that you believe are doing the right thing. We need to wake up. We need to do the research. We need to find out. We need to be ready. And we need to start talking to our neighbors. As Christians, we're already supposed to be doing that, but I don't think that we really do. But here's the thing, if we don't take a stand for righteousness before all this comes out, our neighbors are going to ask us, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you say something? And when your neighbors come to you brokenhearted, truly brokenhearted, like their mind is about to split in two because the world that they know, the world that they have known and loved and lived in for their lives is like an illusion. When that happens, we're going to have to be ready. We're going to have to be the salt of the earth. We're going to have to be able to give direction and comfort to people. So, I know that I've talked a long time and perhaps vaguely, meaning that I haven't gotten to specific people or specific things. Can I? Oh, yes. And could I talk about it probably for the rest of my days on earth? Probably, because that's how much stuff I've that I've researched and that I've checked out and that I've read, that I've absorbed, that I've been doing this now for over 6 years. But there came a point where what I was researching for biblical prophecy actually did a cross section with what is happening in our world right now. Why are the people in France protesting? Why have they been protesting for over a year? If you don't know about the people wearing yellow vests in France and that they've been protesting for over a year, why don't you know? Why don't you know? Do you know about the people in Venezuela protesting? Do you know what's happening in Iran? Do you know? If you don't know, why don't you know? Why don't you know? What are you listening to? What are you watching? If you don't know some things, if you don't know that human traffickers are being exposed all over the world, why don't you know that? If you don't know that CEOs of companies, like one after another are resigning day after day after day, the head people. We're talking about like Google, we're talking about Disney, we're talking about all these major corporations across the globe, and their top people are resigning. Why don't we know about that? Why would they be resigning? Are they involved in something? Are they involved in something that's too unspeakable to even think about or process or think, much less say? There might be a common thread here. There just might be. And truthfully, there is. There is. And now something that just seemed to be not a God situation, just a situation, actually is a God situation. Because God cares about the blood of the innocent. God hears the cries of the innocent who cry out to him. God hears their cries. God is a patient and loving God. But he says, when describing himself, that his mercy doesn't just go and go and go and go and go. Because he's also a God of justice. And there has to be some accountability. And when people with their own free will, remember that's what I started talking about in the beginning, when people have chosen to deceive, when people have chosen to live a life of mockery to the things of God and to torture and abuse and sacrifice innocence in every way. These people must be held accountable, and not just like in the afterlife, in life eternal, but here on earth where these atrocities took place. I cry for justice. I cry for them. If you've never read in Genesis where it talks about where Cain slew Abel and where Abel's blood cried out to the Lord, that the Lord actually heard the blood crying. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what God hears? With all the human trafficking and all the things that have happened, and that's not even talking about abortion. And this isn't meant to be offensive. This is just for us to open our eyes. What about all that blood crying out for justice? I believe that day's coming. And I believe that it's going to turn the world upside down. And I believe that Christians must wake up so we can do what we need to do to help others. Because if we don't wake up, if we're not trying to help people before this happens, they're not going to want our help after this happens. There will be a narrative. There will be some type of narrative that will explain it all away, or attempt to explain it away, or try to direct people with an intentional path of where they want them to go, because that's what's been happening all along anyway. So as stuff begins to come out and happen and all this, if we don't stand strong, if we don't take a stand, then we're really not bringing the kingdom of God to earth. And that prayer for dark to light is about bringing the kingdom of God to earth. For it to be manifest in our reality, in our dimension, in our lives. For the supernatural to be manifest. For God's supernatural to come. And what is His desire? That we are healed, that we are delivered, and that we're free. For that to actually happen on this earth every day in a real and relevant way in people's lives. So, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm willing to talk about more specific things. I'm willing to share what I know, to jump into the tsunami and start to share. There's a lot. I just don't know how best to do it. So, I don't know if I should do it through video. I don't know if I should try to have people come to my home. I don't know if I should do live videos and answer questions. I don't know what I should do. But I do know there's a lot of information that people need to hear from someone who has no agenda. I have no agenda other than I just don't want people to lose their minds, because I know the pain of being lied to and being deceived. And how that can rock your world, and how vulnerable you are, perhaps even more so once you realize you have been lied to and you have been deceived. So I want to help to prepare and equip people to help and prepare and equip other people. And if we do that, if we just do it a few at a time, we can make a difference. We can make a difference. So if you have ideas, or if you'd like to tell me what you'd like for me to do, and what would work for you, then please do. Please just comment and tell me. Just tell me, comment, and let me know what you think might work. And I will consider all things and then make decisions about what to do. But thank you for listening today, and I want to encourage you and tell you that the world doesn't have to be a scary place. The world can be a great place. There are some bad things in it, some very, very, very bad things in it. But there are people in the world who do love and care for other people, and who are honest, and who have integrity, and who really just want to help people. And hopefully we can, if we're not already that, hopefully we can all become that. Hopefully we can. So stay well. Don't walk in fear. Don't be afraid of viruses and terrorists and asteroids and all these things. Just live in peace. Live in peace and walk in peace. Walk in wholeness. And the peace of God is that no good thing is withheld. That means that there's justice. That means that there's health, that there's healing, that there's provision, that there's emotional wellness, that you're whole in every way. And with every breath, you can walk in wholeness. So I give that to you. I give that to you. All right. So be happy. Let me know what you think. If there's something you're interested in as far as like how I could proceed from here to be more specific and share lots of information, and I'd be happy to. But my thing is, are you willing? Are you willing to have your eyes opened? That's why Jesus came, to open blind eyes and deaf ears to what's really going on in the world. Okay? He did lots of other healing, supernatural. That wasn't blind eyes and deaf ears, but he said, I've come to open the blind eyes and heal the deaf ears. He was talking about people being able to actually see and know what's really going on in the world. And I believe it's time we started walking in that, our true calling as Christians, that our eyes are open to what's really going on and our ears are open. All right? Have an awesome day. Thank you so much, and be happy.